Hey guys, watching DroidCrunch. I'm Lokesh Kapoor, and in this video I'm going to tell you how you can optimize the speed of your website. It is a very crucial thing that you have to do if you are working on the websites of the clients. They always need to have a proper speed that they can rely, and having a good speed is very necessary to rank on some comparative keywords. And not only that, Google Web Vitals also suggests that you should have good performance score on your websites. So there are a lot of things that you can do. Many people on YouTube and some tutors advise that you should use a caching plugin, but there are some other things as well that you have to focus to improve the speed. So these are the factors you can see on this page, speed insights page. You have to make them green. And there is just FCP, LCP, total blocking time, cumulative layout shift, and speed index. First contentful plaint is a time that is taken for your website to load. Okay, the first page when it is shown here, you can see this tree map. If you see if you see on the FCP, this is the LCP and this is for the TBT. Okay, so the diagnostics and the results will be filtered using this using these tabs, and you can also see the tree map. But without going deep into this, let's focus on how we can improve these factors. We have to majorly focus on largest contentful paint. If it is good, we will be able to satisfy most of other things. I will let you know step by step. So keep watching till the end and you will get some bonus tips as well that I use personally on my websites and for my clients. So first thing that you need to know is using a good theme. The theme should be a reliable theme, and it should be fast, it should be SEO friendly, and there should not be lot of functionalities in the theme. Because if the theme is having a lot of functionalities, it will definitely slow your website, because the functionalities come with a cost of scripts and lot of styles, and those styles, when not minified, can speed your website down. So I use on my websites themes like WordPress, Astra, Hello Elementor, Cadence, Bloxy, Divi, Genesis, or OceanWP. These are themes I generally recommend to my audience and users as well, because these are reliable and developers of these themes work a lot on them to improve the fixes and give regular updates, so you can use them. I am using WordPress on this website, and next thing that you have to focus is to using only the needed plugins, the plugins that you require, that are needed to make sure your website is up and running and the aim of your website is fulfilled. So only those plugins you should use. You shouldn't be using all the plugins, all the fancy plugins for mere single or two functionalities. You should avoid using multiple plugins or many plugins. Next thing, you should be using the compressed images. I use on my website the WebP images. Let me show you. When I open up my website, I generally compress my images from JPEG or PNG to WebP format using any WebP. There is a software that I use. You can search for any WebP on the browser, and you can download this software on your system, and you can easily compress the images. If you don't want to install software, you can do that using online tools as well, like TinyPNG. TinyPNG gives you about 88% of decline in size of images. Here you can see this is the website. So you just need to drop the images over here, and it will automatically convert these images into next gen web format, and that is what you actually need. I also use SVGs as logos sometimes. These are also freaking amazing and give you a lot of compression benefits, and yeah, that is what you actually need, because if you are not optimizing images, not compressing the images, you may need a plugin, a separate plugin or a CDN service that can do that thing for you. And there are many services like Short Pixel or image kit is also a thing. These plugins can compress images for you, and they come with some cost as well. They have some pricing plans as well. And to save all this cost and all this headache and all the additional plugins, I upload directly the images in WebP format, so that I don't have to care about optimized post optimization. So this can slow your websites. You'll have multiple images on your server. It will not only increase your cost in future for your server, but also increase the cost of your plugins for these compression plugins. So to avoid all this cost, these can be pretty much, when your website is scaled, you should consider uploading the compressed images. So that's what I do, and you can also do that as well. Next thing is, you should load the image when it is loaded completely. Like, you should be using the lazy load function. This comes with some compression plugins, and sometimes it is also available in the themes settings as well. Many themes have this function in their customizer or in their theme settings, but you can also use any compression plugin or any caching plugin to enable this feature as well. This is very useful because your images will be loaded after you scroll to that specific section where your image is. Okay, for example, your image is on the second or third half, so the image will loaded only when you reach after scrolling to that half section. Otherwise it will not be loaded, and it will save a lot of resources and a lot of size. For example, your page size is 1 MB and your image size is 600 KB, so it will take only 400 KB for your page to load, and it will take extra 600 KB only when you reach to that image. So that will be a beneficial thing and can save a lot of time and a lot of speed improvements you can get. Next thing you should consider is, like, don't use featured images. I personally don't use featured images. I use featured images, but I hide or disable them to show on the pages. Let me show you. So here in the review section, let me show you post. So here you can see that I haven't used any featured image over here. So what is the reason for this? Simply the image will take some extra time. The image is a little bit heavy because it can be around 100 KB, maybe 60 KB, and that 60 KB I can save in first contentful paint. My first contentful paint would be much better if I don't use any image or any video as a featured section in my single post layouts, and this can give me some heavy benefits in speed. So this is what I personally use, and you can do that as well, and it doesn't affect SEO. Pretty much it can do sometimes, but I don't think it has any SEO impacts as long as you have set them in the backend. Next thing you can do is use a lightweight font. Okay, using a lightweight font can give some drastic benefits, because your site connects to the origin server where the fonts of your website are loaded. For example, they can be Google font website, this can be Adobe font website. Your server connects to that external cross origin servers and then pulls back those fonts on your website. So that takes heavy time, and to avoid this, you can also preload or pre-connect the fonts or self-host the fonts on your own server, and this can save a bit of time loading the fonts. And truly I have experienced a lot of issues with the fonts in the past, and majority of space was, or majority of size was being taken by the fonts. Like, no cache, no CSS or no scripts were taking a lot of resources except the fonts. So font is a major issue. You should learn how to optimize it. There are caching plugins as well that can help you. I will talk about a bit later about them. So next thing is to use performance settings in the plugins. Like you may have many plugins on your website. So I majorly build websites or customize the layout of my websites, sometimes using the Elementor, and they have these settings over here. You can check this performance tab, and here you can enable the external CSS print method. The internal method will input all the CSS in your head section internally on your page, but external will keep the CSS file separate, and it will be better for the performance, and this is what is recommended by them as well. So you should enable this method. And you can also set a element cache expiration, and they have plenty of other features introduced as well in the recent updates, that you can optimize the control loading, you can have element caching, okay, and you can improve CSS loading, you can have inline font icons, grid container is a new feature, then you have lazy load background images to improve the performance. So all these performance settings you can enable based on the builder you use. So in Elementor, these are settings. If you're using Divi or any other plugin, you should also see what settings they have that you can enable to have a proper or good performance. So moving on, if you use plugins like Dynamic OOF, CrocoBlock plus add-ons, they also have features to disable the widgets. Like if you go to features, you can disable what you don't need. So I have disabled all the widgets that I don't use. If I'm using any widget only, then I will be enabling it. Otherwise it can not only affect the loading time of my Elementor panel, but it can also affect sometimes my front end, because sometimes it can load some scripts and can affect the performance. So I don't want to take the risk for website improvement in terms of speed. Next thing is caching plugin. So here we go. There are many caching plugins. Some are free and some are paid, and Auto Optimize is a plugin that is quite free to use. You can install it and it will give you all bunch of options that you need to optimize the website. And the majority of things that you do with caching plugins to minify the CSS, optimize the CSS delivery, minify JavaScript files, load JavaScript deferred or delay JavaScript execution, all those things that you can achieve using these plugins. And those things you can do with Auto Optimize. But since I'm using WP Rocket for a long time, I will show you how you can achieve all these things with WP Rocket. But yeah, you can also use other plugins as well, because all those plugins and all these caching plugins have similar options in settings to achieve the speed. Okay, so you don't need to care about what plugins you should be using. Next thing, let me quickly go to the settings tab. After installing WP Rocket, you get this dashboard. Okay, here you can see your license and some tutorials, and then is file optimization. Here you can minify the CSS. So the CSS minification is simply the process of removing unnecessary characters from a CSS file to reduce its size without altering its functionality. So the size of your CSS file is reduced, but none of the functionality is changed using this feature. And what it actually does in the backend, it just removes the comments, it strips down the white spaces, it shortens the property names, and removes unnecessary semicolons. So this reduces its size, reduces its structure, so as to reduce the size of CSS files. Okay, so you can just enable it and it will do all the job by itself. Then you can optimize the CSS delivery. Optimizing the CSS delivery has two options: to remove the unused CSS or load CSS asynchronously. Okay, remove unused CSS is a good feature introduced recently. Previously it had option to load the CSS asynchronously, which says that CSS will load after. Async is a feature in JavaScript as well. If you heard or if you know about, it can async the files. So if you use even the Google code, any ad code or script, you may see that async has a tag. There's a tag async, okay, that says that it will load once the page is loaded. So CSS will be loaded once the page is loaded. So that is not a good option. So I use remove unused CSS, so it optimizes the CSS delivery and eliminates the render blocking resources and render blocking CSS files on the website. You can choose only one method out of the two for the optimal delivery, and it will improve the CSS delivery, avoid CSS import feature, remove unused CSS, fix the specificity and CSS preprocessor issues, like it will use tools like SAAS, or if you're using tools like SAAS or less for better organization and maintainability, so it will be beneficial for that. Then you have option to improve the JavaScript files. You can minify the JavaScript file and it does the same job. It removes the unnecessary characters from the JavaScript file and it doesn't alter any functionality, removes white spaces, comments, shortens variable and function names, and combines multiple files. You can also load a JavaScript deferred. Enabling the load JavaScript deferred method will actually defer the JavaScript, meaning thereby that the browser to download the script in parallel with parsing the HTML, but to execute the script only after the HTML has been fully parsed. Okay, so execution will take place once the page has been fully parsed. The simple way to defer a JavaScript file is to add the defer attribute to the script. So what it does is like it loads the JavaScript, but it doesn't executes it at the same time. So it executes once the page is loaded. Sometimes you may face some issues with that. In past I have also faced many issues using these features. I had to do some trial and errors to fix those issues. So when you are facing any issue, it is important and pertinent to find out which script is actually misbehaving when using it. So exclude all those script files over here. You can locate the file path and add it here, or you can include if it is a theme script, if it is a plugin script, you can use underscores and include all the scripts of a specific theme or the plugin, and those files will be excluded. The same goes with the exclusion over here and exclusion in delay. In delay JavaScript execution, you can simply choose the specific plugin from this drop down and the theme as well, and some analytics and ads. So this is having one click execution, and all the files in the specific plugin or theme will be excluded from the delay. So delay, what does it? Just improves the performance by delaying the loading of JavaScript file. In defer, JavaScript file loads after the HTML file is parsed, but delay loads the JavaScript files until the user interacts with it. Okay, it can be a scroll, it can be a click, it can be a mouse over, it can be an animation, transition, or whatever. Okay, so this can improve the website speed. Definitely, if you're having issues, you can exclude JavaScript files manually over here as well. This is the code. If you're having any problem, you copy and paste this default exclusions to quickly resolve issues if happening any. And then you have this help center over here as well. If you want to know about any of these features like CSS files, you can click on this need help and will open up this box over here and will show you all the related articles that you can read and comprehend what it actually is. And you also can get some insights about all these features like this, right? And then let's move to the media section, where you can lazy load the images and background image, CSS background images, and iframes and videos. If you are using iframes, for example YouTube videos in your website, it is essential that you enable this feature. Otherwise you may face a lot of issues, because YouTube calls a lot of properties and files. So by enabling this feature, any of the pages that are having images and videos will work better, and they will be of less size compared to what they had, and this will improve the page speed. You can exclude specific images or iframes using the name like this. Okay, it can be an image file name, CSS file name, CSS class that holds the image or the domain from the image or iframe code to be excluded. So I generally use the logo image. Okay, I use generally the image which is there in my hero section. For example, if I have this what I call it, I have this animation SVG animation file over here. Otherwise, if I had an image over here, I could select it and use its location in my plugin settings over here, and that could improve its visibility, because I don't want to lazy load the first image. What will happen, it will show a blank section over here when the page loads. So first contentful paint is always faster than the largest, so that's why it will load page quickly. Okay, but your image will be missing. If you're using a lazy load, it will take a little bit of time until you interacts with the page. So that's why the first hero image you can use to exclude from the lazy load, and then you can set or add the missing dimensions, because it suggests in the page insights that the dimensions are missing or something like that, and you can avoid all those mistakes using this feature. Okay, properly sized images. Okay, so these can be fixed using that. Then you have to preload some caches. You can activate the preloading. When it is activated, it will preload automatically your sitemaps and save the URLs to database, and make sure that your cache is always preloaded. It speeds up the website, and the same goes with links. It preloads and improves the load time by downloading a page when a user hovers over the link. So when you hover over any internal link, it will instantly preload that page, and when you click on it, it will load instantly. For example, if you come on your website from Google, it may take a little bit of time, but if you hover on any page, okay, and then you click it, then it will take no time. Okay, it will open faster compared to opening from Google or external source. So that's how it works. Then you have some advanced rules to set the cache lifespan. Keep it more so that it doesn't flashes now and then. If your visits are more, then you can keep it low, but if your visits are less on the website, the bandwidth is less, then you can use a much better time that I have set, as I have set over here. Then you have some settings regarding the database to clean the database regarding revisions, drafts and trash posts. Transients you can clean, and some comments you can clean from here. Then you have these CDN features to enable Rocket CDN or enable any CDN that you have purchased. Then you can control the heartbeat settings. Heartbeat API, if you have heard about, is a WordPress heartbeat API which is built to it enables near real-time communication between a web browser and the web WordPress server. It functions by sending regular pulses or requests at specific intervals. Typically 15 seconds can be, to keep both sides synchronized. So it just works in the backend to keep all sides working fine, but you can reduce its activity to improve your website speed, especially in the front end. I have disabled it in the front end, but in the post editor you shouldn't be disabling it, because it can cause some issues when writing posts, okay, or writing your posts. So I have reduced the activity in backend, haven't limited anything in the post editor, and have disabled it in the front end. So that's my personal trial and error that I have done and got to this end. Then you have some add-ons, some image optimization features that you can enable. As I said, if you don't upload images in WebP or next generation format, you may use these plugins like Imagify or ShortPixel, as I said, but definitely it will come with some cost. so better to prepare yourself with custom uploads in Nextend format. And then you have some tools that you can use, downloading export settings so that you can use the same settings on different websites, and it will download the JSON file like this, and you can import that file in your next website. And here the import settings, like if you have a file, just import it. So you will be able to use this feature on the second website, and will be importing the JSON file and import all the settings. You can roll back to a specific or a previous version as well. And these are the tutorials. So this was all that you can do to improve the loading time of your website and improve the website speed. And this was I guess a little bit lengthy, but I hope you enjoyed it. And if you don't, please give some suggestions or come in the comment box and give your feedback. And if you want to have any questions or queries, you can also ask them in the comments, or you can also reach me through our social media channels, and I will definitely try my best to contact you or respond to you with your queries. So yeah, thanks for watching this video till end, and see you in the next one. Subscribe. Have a good one.